Hey folks, this is Brian from Super Easy Toots, and in this tutorial we're going to cover decision statements, which basically is the if statement. But first, in order to compare two things, we have to go over that first. In order to compare two things, we use two equal signs, just equals equals. But it's easy to get confused because one equal sign is an assignment operator, basically. What we're saying with x equals 3 is we're assigning the value 3 to the variable x. However, if we say x equals 3, it basically compares the value that's stored in x to the value 3. For example, if we assign x to equal 14 and then we say x equals 9, this is not true because x obviously equals 14. So it's basically asking, is 14, which is the value of x, equal to 9? Now, in order to use these if statements, I've kind of created a little program here. Basically what I did is, and I'm going to show you this in Quincy in just a second, I assigned an integer variable and named it T Woods and set it equal to 68. We'll assume that that's his score on the day. And then to write an if statement, it's just simply this text right here. If, and in parentheses, the variable name T Woods equals 67. And basically it's asking, is the variable T Woods equal to the number 67, to the value 67. If it is, then this code down here, the cout statement, will execute. Now we do need the brackets in here. However, if it's only one line of code, again, you don't need the brackets, but get used to putting them in here because it's pretty rare that you're only going to have one line of code. And we do need a semicolon at the end of the executable code. We don't need it at the end of the if statement, which is again an exception to the rule. So now the second part of our if statement is an else statement. If this is not true, we want it to execute some other type of code, and basically it's the word else, and then you have the brackets, and then for this one I just did a simple cout statement again with the semicolon at the end. And again, if this first part is not true, then this part will execute. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up Quincy here. I'm going to comment some stuff out, and then we're going to run this, which is just the it's just the code I just showed you. We've basically created an integer variable named T Woods, set it equal to 68. So we know that this isn't true because the variable T Woods equals 68. So basically this will not print out on the screen. The else statement will be executed, which is Tiger Choke today. So I'm going to run this, and we see that we have Tiger Choke today. So now there's a couple other things that you need to know for if statements. Basically those signs, those equals signs, there's different signs, different expressions that you can use with if statements. We just went over the equals, which is an equality. Exclamation mark equals translates to does not equal. Then there's greater than, less than, greater than equal to, less than equal to, and then the exclamation mark greater than means not greater than and not less than. And they do have, these four do have to be written in this order, with a greater than sign and then the equal sign. For example, here's one, and I apologize, my handwriting is awful. Hopefully you can get the gist of this. It's just a sign, and then whatever value is following, it's going to compare the variable to. Now this can also, this 16 could be a variable name as well. So that's not out of range. So what I've done is I created a second one because there's one other thing that you really need to, one other concept with if statements that you need to understand. It's not always going to be confined to just two things, an if or an else. Sometimes you're going to have 50 if statements, and the way you do that is you have to put this else if in there. Basically it's extending this if statement. So here I created an integer variable named JDaily. I didn't give it a value. I left it undefined, and then I did a simple cout statement asking the user to give a value here with the cin statement. So whatever value the user is going to input is going to be put in the variable named jdaily, and then depending on what that value is, if jdaily is less than 72, then we have the cout statement. Again, there's no brackets here. I just wanted to show you that it does work without the brackets, but again, I reiterate, use the brackets, get used to using those. And then the else if JDaily's score equals 72, then this code will execute, and anything else, this code will execute. There's only really one other option if Daily shot better than higher than a 72, but you could do this in a range of, JDaily's between 72 and 78 or something like that, and we'll get into that in later tutorials. But again, the main point is you have to use this else if there's more than just two options for the if statement. So I'm going to go back over here to Quincy and comment this, uncomment this, and I'm going to run this, and this is basically the text I just showed you. We get the integer, the cout statement, the cin statement, getting the input from the user, and then the else, the if, the else if, and then the else statement. So when we run this, we're going to see we have that first line that I didn't comment out, Tiger Choke today, and then what did John Daily shoot today? So if we put an 88, then Daily sucked today, which is what we would expect to execute, because this is not true, this if statement is not true, this else if statement is not true either. One other thing I did want to show you, I'm just going to run this one more time, and I'm going to put a value less than that 72 there, so we're going to get Daily shot great today. We'll put in there a 65, and Daily shot great today. Now why you have to have this else if, I'm going to show you here. If we take out this else statement, this program will still run, but if Daily is under a 72, if we input a value under 72, this code will execute and this code will execute, because this else and if are tied together. This if statement's kind of dangling. It doesn't have another else statement to attach to, and that's why we need the else if in there. So I'm going to run this again, and again I'm going to put a low value for the JDaily variable here. We'll do 67, and you can see we have two lines of code that executed. Daily shot great today, Daily sucked today. Again, that's because this code, this was true, so this code executed, and then these two are tied together, and if Daily does not or equals 72, put out this, otherwise put out this. So again, this if statement was tied to this else statement, and this if statement was not tied to any statement. So you do need the else if in there. So I'm just going to re-put that in there, and that's pretty much it for if statements. You're going to be using them quite a bit, even in advanced C++. So this is an important concept to understand.